In this video, we're going to be talking through how to sort of focus on your core activation. This is really important when you're coming to do any core type activity. I wanted to dedicate a video specifically to knowing what you're feeling, because quite a lot of the time we're quite good at engaging the upper proportion of the core, but we find it less easy to focus on that deeper core engagement, and then this can be then where things lead to problems in terms of either working too much on the hip flexors and quads, or we're getting the back to take too much load. So we're going to be on the ground, laying flat on our back, and ideally when you're in this position we're going to bring the knees up towards the chest. Now if we're bringing them in flat to your chest, you should be able to lay flat on your back and it feel pretty comfortable. You should be able to lay here for quite some time without having to work too hard. Then what you're going to do is, with your knees hip width apart, we're going to slowly straighten up a little bit to bring these knees over the hip joint themselves. So we're coming to more of the 90-degree mark of the hip. And as you bring these legs this way, you should find that you're having to work that core to engage, to keep your back flat to the ground. At the point where you feel you're working is when that core is engaging. Now that will help to step one to determine whether or not we've got some core engagement, as to whether or not this is difficult or not. If this is challenging in itself to even get to the 90-degree mark, start here. If you are able to get to 90 degrees and it feels quite comfortable, we can then start to play with a little bit more of that engagement for the deeper core. So I always think of it feeling like butterflies fluttering. It's not a particularly strong sensation when you feel it in this deeper core, and you'll feel it sort of, like I say, around that sort of tummy button below area. And then what you'll want to do from here, keeping it sort of knees stacked over that 90-degree mark, we can then begin to add a little bit of movement. So we can start to either straighten the legs out a little bit more and bringing in, so you're controlling that sort of movement here as if you were going into a leg raise, or keeping it stacked over the 90-degree mark. We can begin to add rotation, so you're dropping the legs over to the side. We want to keep it to the point where your back is still in contact with the ground though, and then you're pulling yourself back to center and then dropping them the other way, again keeping this back in contact and back to center. And you should feel this work, that deeper core area, like so. And you can complete repetitions like this. You can use it as a warm-up drill if you want to go into further core work, or if core is the area that you're struggling with, like I say, you can use it as a drill on itself to get used to engaging that deeper core, having that control to move the legs around. I hope you find that's helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ping us a message, or you can always drop us into clinic for sort of further advice if you are struggling.